This video is designed to help you locate books and ebooks for your research project. Books are useful for research because they often offer a much broader and deeper overview than a website can offer. Now, it takes longer to publish a book on a topic than it does an article or a website, so super recent information is going to be found in books. The books can offer a useful background. Encyclopedias, subject-specific encyclopedias, not general encyclopedias, can offer a sort of professional view of some of the basics of your topic. So you're going to want to find some books. Now, books, ebooks, they're all the same in some ways because they all provide useful information if you can find the right one. Ebooks are available 24 hours a day at the snap of a finger at any time of day. But they tend to be a little bit harder to navigate and to cite. Print books are easier to flip through and find information in and to flag pieces that you want to come back to and to find quotes. And they're a little bit easier to cite because the information is easier to find, but they're not immediately available. They have to be checked out and they sometimes have to be ordered. So weigh the pros and cons and find the kinds of books that are best for you. Now, at Lakeland, there are three main sources for finding books, or three main avenues. One is to use Fish, which you've been using to find your library articles. If you choose this route, you perform your search as you normally would, possibly with a little bit broader search terms. You don't want to be too specific with a book because you're not going to get a lot of results back. Remember that books are the background, so you want big issues, related topics. Under Fish, if you're in Fish, do your search, and then on that left-hand side under source type, limit it to books. Now, this isn't my preferred way to find books because they're not actually all linked or even available. I have a hard time navigating. I like it. I really love it for articles. I don't love it for books, but you're welcome to try to use it and to call the library if you have any questions about finding information there. You can also use the Lakeland catalog, which is basically the Lakeland homepage. This is my favorite place to find books, but this often mostly brings back print books. You can also find electronic books here. So you go to the library homepage, which is library.lakelandcc.edu, or if you're logged into My Lakeland, you can go to the student tab, campus services, scroll down and click on library, and then you'll have this option to visit library website, and that's library.lakelandcc.edu. And that blue box for search and find, click on that and it's going to take you to the Lakeland catalog. This is where I can do searches for books that the Lakeland Library actually owns. All right. So let's say that I was continuing my search on helping teens become better parents or supporting teens who are parents. And during the process of my research, I found that one negative side effect of not supporting teen parents is a higher likelihood of children growing up in poverty. So let's say I want to research the effects of poverty on children. In a catalog search, if I type something in like effects of poverty on children, because I'm looking at books, I'm probably not going to get a lot of results. If you look here, 4 results. The first one is a textbook. The second one is opposing viewpoints, and if you read your directions carefully, I don't want you to use opposing viewpoints, and I specifically don't want you to use Greenhaven Press. The reason for that is that these books are collected for research, and I think that they're too juvenile. I actually think these are designed for 8th to 10th graders, and I don't think that they belong in a college library. So don't use the opposing viewpoints from Greenhaven Press or anything like that. It's also just an edited collection. It's not actually a book that someone who has studied the topic in depth is covering. It's just that an editor got paid to collect some resources on a popular topic. So it's a very different animal. This one about children is a reference book only, which means you can only use it in the Lakeland Library. And then the 4th book is something you can actually check out. You can tell because it says available. And it says early care and education for children in poverty. This actually looks like it could be useful because it's about taking care of children and educating them. Of the 4 books that came back, that's probably the one that I would get. If I click on the title, sometimes when I click on the book, it will give me a summary. There you go. I got a summary. It's a very short summary, but it does exist. I have a call number in the middle of my page. If I wanted to go to the Lakeland Library, I would write down the title of this book, the author of the book, and the call number. I would take my student ID or my license to the library, and if you know how to use call numbers, pull it off the shelf, When you get to the shelf, look around at the other books. They're often there by subject, and you can get a sense of, there are often a lot of useful books all right there on the shelf. If I click on subjects, I also see that, it's going to tell me how they characterize this. I sometimes get new search terms from that, which I can find useful. So again, if I wanted to, I could go to the library and get this book. You're also welcome to use your local public library. Sometimes they have really good books and sometimes they don't. Now I'm going to start a new search because I think effects of poverty on children might be a little too specific. Remember, it only brought me back 4 results. So let me try childhood poverty. It got me 17 results. Again, not a ton, but it's a little bit better. I'm going to start reading through these and figuring out if anything is going to be useful. I'm seeing that some of these aren't as direct, families as they really are. That looks useful. A couple of opposing viewpoints things that I'm not going to use. So you can scroll through and see if these are useful. Most of these look like they're books, but I'm seeing some are actually ebooks. So notice this one, Hot Topics and Infection and Immunity in Children. Now it doesn't sound like a useful ebook. It sounds like that one actually has to do with medical science, but I would have access to that right now if I needed it. So I can click on that book. Oh, sorry. I can click on the title of the book, and it's going to say connect to this ebook. Now, once you connect to this, to online ebooks, you're going to have to log into OhioLink. You'll also have to do this if you want to request a book, which I'll show you in a minute. It's not a big deal. If you get this pop-up screen, all you have to do is fill it out. Institution, Lakeland Community College. I click submit. It's going to ask me for my name, and this is perfectly secure, my ID number. I hit enter, and all I've done now is told OhioLink, yes, indeed, I am a member of Lakeland Community College, and I have paid my dues, and here I am. And it takes me straight into the book. The plus side, again, of these books is that I have instant access to them. I can click around, I can go to any of these. Again, this isn't a terribly useful book, but if it were, I have it right here. I can read it here. This one is offering the option of PDFs of each chapter, so that's a PDF of chapter 6. Be careful if you try to print any of this, it's really long. Some have PDFs and some don't. Personally, I like the ones that have PDFs because the closer it can look to a regular book, the better off I am personally. All right, so I want to go back to the catalog because I also want to show you what happens if you don't get results back. So let's say we went back to the effects of poverty on children. I wasn't getting very many search results back. I have those 4. Well, another option I have is to search OhioLink. So OhioLink is almost all of the Ohio colleges and universities are linked together, and you can search all of them at the same time. So there's this button up here at the top. You see Start Over, Modify Search, Another Search, and Search OhioLink. So I'm going to click on Search OhioLink. Now all of a sudden, instead of 4 entries, I have 291 entries. So if I wanted to, I could be more specific with my search results. If I find now some of these are ebooks. Notice this one, Increasing Opportunities for Disadvantaged Families. It's an electronic resource. Some of these, notice this as a digital PDF, 45 pages. It's not exactly a book, so you want to be careful that it actually says book if you want to get credit for using a book. So let's say we click, here's one, an online resource. Let's see, books, lots of books. I'm not finding a book that's online, but some of these are ebooks. More frequently, what you're going to find is that these are regular books. So let's say I click on one and I find something that I like. I'm going to say, I click on the title. It's going to show me where things are available. Oh, and actually that's a bad deal. So I just noticed that one has library holdings at Ohio State. Ohio State has 2 copies and they're both checked out. So I'm not going to use that book. Go back out and keep looking. Let's say that I want to pick up a book on family theories. Okay, so this is a book, Handbook of Family Theories. Let's say I find that useful. If I look, it says Bowling Green has one. So I click the green button that says Request. Now, this pop-up is really scary, and it sometimes shows up in red. But it's an issue with the Lakeland website, and it's not going to run your computer. So I always click Continue. If you have real problems with it, call the library, and they can help you through it. Again, because I'm in OhioLink, it's asking me to verify that I'm a Lakeland student. So I put in my information. It happens to be there for me. Now I put in my name, my ID number, my school. If you live closer to another school in Ohio, you could actually choose that from the list and just pick it up there. So, for example, I live near Notre Dame College, so I could put Notre Dame here and go to the library, and with my student ID, I could pick up that book there and drop it back off there. You might want to call ahead to make absolutely sure that that's the case at your specific library in case they have any quirky rules that I don't know about. The pickup location in our campus, it's at Holden University, Madison, or the main campus. They also have this curbside pickup. Curbside pickup, and you can call the library and ask them specifically where it is, but it's basically like if you're coming into Lakeland from that main road, you make the left at that light. There's the great big parking lot instantly on your left. Instead, kind of go around like you were going to go to the gym, and the curbside pickup is on the right. There's a little pull-off spot with what looks like apartment mailboxes. When your book is in, the library will email you a code, and you don't even have to go into the building. You just pull up right there, you get out of your car, you can pull up right next to it, put your code in, and take your book out. This is really great if you happen to have kids in the car. But for me, let's say Lakeland main campus. So this is me telling them I want this book. So I put my information in and I click submit. There we go. Your request will be delivered when it's available. So now I've ordered this book, basically. They're going to send it to Lakeland, and when it's ready, I'm going to pick it up. So this is really useful. Now, I highly recommend that you do this early on. It can take anywhere from, I've gotten books as quickly as 2 days, and it has taken as long as 2 weeks. So that's something to know. If this is the case too, I often will order 3 or 4 or 5 books. Go ahead and check them all out and see what's useful. They let you check out all kinds of books. Again, that's the Lakeland Library Catalog, which I searched, which also offers me options for books I can go just physically pick up in the library, books I can order, and some ebooks. All right. Now, let's say you need a book now. If that's the case, I recommend another database. So I'm going to go back to the library section, click on Connect to Databases, and this one is called the Ohio Link Electronic Book Center, and it's in that big long list. So click on Ohio Link's Electronic Book Center, and this takes me into only searching for ebooks. Now notice they're scholarly in reference, so a lot of times you're going to get encyclopedias, you're going to get edited volumes of information. So I'm going to try to keep mine fairly broad and go, I guess I'll look at childhood poverty. All right, so I do my search. Now, it's a little hard to look at, but what I can tell is I have 495 results. On that left-hand side, I can see that they're also organized by subject and by date. So if I wanted something super recent, it looks like they have 38 books from 2014. That's a huge number. You might find when you're in here that you start off with 0 results. So keep playing around with your search terms until you get results back. Again, if you want to narrow it down, if I really wanted one just about education, I could click on that, and that's going to continue and giving me my options. Now it's also highlighting where it found the keywords, and it's going to tell me how many matches I have. If you look at that first entry, it says it's an encyclopedia, which is okay, particularly because it's a subject-specific encyclopedia. So instead of just being the Encyclopedia Britannica or Wikipedia, it's the Encyclopedia of Life Course in Human Development. It's going to be a lot more in-depth and give you more information than a generalized one. It says 62 matches. That means the phrase childhood and poverty shows up 62 times in my book, 62 times in my book. That can be useful to know, so that's how it's ranking them. This one, Biosocial Foundations of the Family, has 11 hits. I scroll down, Handbook of Child Wellbeing, which actually sounds pretty useful, 48 hits. So just know that there are ways to narrow this down. If you find something really useful, if you want another encyclopedia, you can click on that similar items list, and it's going to give you links to other similar items. Let's say, though, that I wanted to choose a book. So I'm going to click on its title. If I find one that I like, I'm going to click on its title. If I click Add, it's going to add it to a little book bag so I can keep track of my searches. But for now, let me just click on the title. This is going to take me into my ebook. All right. Depending on the ebook, like I showed you before, some are going to have PDFs and some aren't. This one does have a PDF of the chapters. On the left-hand side here, notice that this 11 by 4, by chapter 4, means that my search terms are there in that chapter 11 times. and it's going to highlight, or most of them will highlight, there we go, highlight my search terms. You can also search within the book. So this is kind of helpful. It's like your version of flipping through the book. When you go to, and they also have a print view. Whenever there's a print view or PDF, that's what I look at, because the more it can look like a normal book, the better I am at navigating it. When it comes time to cite these books, look for, especially an ebook, look for something called the front matter. Now in a book, a regular book or in a textbook, this is usually the first page or 2 pages where you find the copyright information and the cities. In an ebook, sometimes it's easy to find and sometimes it's not. It's often called the front matter. And here I'm clicking on front matter and I see it does give me information. I've got the names of some editors, I've got a title, it says University Park, Pennsylvania. That's helpful. I've got a location now. See if I can find a publisher. Oh, Springer Science and Business Media. I've got a publisher and I've got a date. This is great. This is your best case scenario, and it's not always going to be the case for you. Your textbook or whatever MLA guide you're using, you want to find the section, whether it's an e-book or a print book, you want to find the section that covers books. It'll usually show a book with 1 author, a book with 2 authors, a book with 3 authors or more, or a book with editors. Just find whichever one best matches the book you're looking at and use that. If it's just a regular old book that you found at a library, or is just an ebook through the library, you can just do it like this. So the authors, the chapter, if say like I'm only using chapter 5, you can put the title of the chapter there. Just cut that out if you're using the whole book. The title of the book, the city, the publisher, the year, the medium, which would be print, if it's a print book that you got out of the library, in which case you don't need the date, or web, if it's anything you found online. If you found it from a database, so for example, what I was just in, that was the Ohio Link eBook Center. That's a database. I need to add the name of the database before web on my entry. All right? So it doesn't necessarily say that in the MLA guide. That's one of those things you're going to have to start just sort of putting 2 and 2 together yourself. So you have the book information, you have a database, and then you start putting them together. All right? So books are important, but they're a little bit harder to come by. So eBook Center, the library catalog, and if you are brave and daring, the Fish Center for looking for things. I don't think that's what it's called. But Fish, it's linked from the library homepage. And that if you narrow it to books, you'll be doing good. All right, good luck.